Hey guys, welcome back to Calgary Barbell. We are wrapping up this week's training, and today was an equipped deadlift session. It went exceptionally well. So to start off with, I worked up to about 220 kilos raw, sorry. Pulled 220, put I think 270 on the bar, pulled out as my first equipped rep. And then went to 337 as sort of ramp up feeler set, and that felt deceptively heavy. I'm not sure what the video looks like, but it felt pretty heavy. So I decided that my top sets were going to be around 355 today. So I pulled 355. It felt, again, deceptively heavy, but upon reviewing the footage, I decided I should go a little bit heavier. So I went up to 365, and 365 actually moved faster than the 355. So I ended up going to 372 kilos for my third single there, which also moved about the same speed as 365. So really, really happy with that. Mike and I were kind of monitoring today's session as a marker of whether or not my training was going to continue, or whether we were on track or not. So after the success of today's session, I am going to be signing up for the meet here in Calgary. It's going to be at a gym called Accelerate. It's going to be September 16th, and I'm going to be using that to get my nominated total up to an appropriate level so I can hopefully compete in Flight A when I go out to Worlds. After equipped deadlifts today, or sorry, after my singles anyways, I pulled 280 for a set of 5 first because I misloaded the bar, and that was just not even, like, I might as well have just been pulling an empty bar. It just felt really weird. And then I got the right weight on the bar and pulled 330 for a set of 5. After that, moved on to do some raw bench, just baseline volume, so 135 kilos for a bunch of 5s, 220 for 5 on the squat, and then did some RDLs until this trusty ER rack that I'm sitting in right now collapsed on top of me while I was sitting on the bench behind it. I had the bar on the safeties here, up against the rack, and I don't know exactly what happened, but it started rolling out towards the end of the safeties. It was enough weight to tip the rack over, and the rack tipped over and smashed me in the back of the hand. So right now it feels pretty swollen, but I've got full range of motion back, and it doesn't feel like anything's weird or out of place. So I don't know, I'm just gonna keep icing it and hope that that's okay. So our question of the day today comes from Jensen. Jensen's been following the channel for a while. I believe he's a lifter in Ontario somewhere. And he's also doing some equipped stuff. So he asked in some YouTube comment, in one of the YouTube comments here, he asked if I found a difference in the sticking point or the hardest range of motion going from raw deadlift to an equipped deadlift. I think yes, definitely. He asked if the lockout is now harder than off the floor once I've gotten into the suit. So I would say yes, for sure. For 2 reasons. One, obviously the bottom of the deadlift is where the suit's going to give you the most assistance. The other thing is the deadlift suit rather makes it really hard to get an ideal position with your sort of low back, pelvis, mid back, etc. Because those straps are pulling on you, it tends to round people a little bit more. So as anybody who's been watching the channel for any period of time knows, I often harp on people for not getting their backs into an ideal position when deadlifting, because then we're having to finish by extending the spine, not extending the hips. So that contributes, or sorry, the suit in the deadlift contributes to that lack of position, which also makes the lockout harder. So there's a couple things in play there, but yeah, I definitely find the lockout harder in the suit. And I also found, or I'm starting to find, that the more I use equipped deadlifts as my secondary deadlift, the more my speed off the floor suffers in my raw deadlift. I think it's a temporary thing. Usually when I'm doing a raw training cycle, I'll use pause deadlifts just off the floor as my accessory movement, and my speed off the floor is really quite good. But when I'm doing equipped stuff, it tends to suffer a little bit. So there's some tidbits of information for you. Do with them what you will. Anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in and joining us on Project Pilsen as I make my way to Equipped Worlds in November. And leave a like if you liked the video. comment below, ask us more questions of the day. We love having a little bit of an informational part at the end of these training logs. Gives it a little bit more value for the watcher, the viewer, whatever. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time.